Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, each and every one built from the sound up in Austin, Texas. This episode is also brought to you by Peghead Nation, the home of roots music instruction. If you want to improve your playing, join me and thousands of other pickers getting better every day at pegheadnation.com. Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Bluegrass Jam Along. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday the 8th of July 2024. So let's catch you up on what has been on the podcast. If you missed it, there was a really cool chat with Brittany Haas about joining Punch Brothers. As I'm sure some of you remember, I interviewed Gabe Witcher just a few days after he left the band this time last year, after playing at Telluride. And so I interviewed Brittany after playing at Telluride and joining the band. And we chat about her joining Punch Brothers. We chat about what the band have been up to with the Energy Curfew Music Hour stuff that's coming out a bit later this year. We just talk about what the experience was like for her, what Telluride was like, what we can expect from Punch Brothers coming up in future. So if you missed that, have a listen. Really enjoyed that one. Go and have a listen to that. Also, Wednesday's episode has a Punch Brothers theme as well, but Wednesday's episode is also very special for another reason. It is the 400th episode of Bluegrass Jam Along. This is 399. Wednesdays will be 400. And I wanted to do something a bit fun to mark that. And so I am chatting to Chris Eldridge about Baylor Flex Drive album. I wanted to do something to celebrate the record last year because it turned 35, and Drive at 35 just sounds like too good a rhyme to miss, but it didn't happen for all sorts of reasons. But I heard Chris on another podcast chatting about how much he loves that record, and so I just messaged him and said, look, would you like to have a chat for an hour just about how cool Drive is? And he was like, absolutely. So we did, and it is always a joy talking to Chris about anything, but it was great chatting to him about this record, what it means to him, what it sort of meant to the String Dusters in their early years, and also like how important it is to Punch Brothers and just to everybody in the world of string band music, really. That was very cool. That's coming out on Wednesday, and that will be the 400th episode of the podcast. So, with that in mind, I just wanted to sort of thank you all for listening. 400 is a lot of podcasts to make. It's also a lot of podcasts to listen to. I don't for a minute think you've listened to them all, but thank you for however many you have listened to. I really enjoy putting this podcast together. It's a lot of fun. And thanks to everybody who's messaged in, everybody's been a guest, everybody's downloaded, everybody's listened. Chuck, as always, thank you for emailing me. You always get in touch and let me know what you're thinking, and I love hearing from you. I didn't reply to your email because it's been so busy, but I'm going to thank you here. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, my friend. I would like to thank the podcast sponsors, Collings Guitars and Mandolins and Peghead Nation. They've been with me for over a year and are really supportive and are just really cool to work with. It's really nice to work with companies that you like already. And, I think it makes a massive difference. So thank you to Joe and Nully at Collings, and thank you to Dan and Scott and the whole team over at Peghead Nation. I really appreciate your support. One thing that might be confusing you, if you listen to this on Spotify, you'll be thinking there are not 400 episodes in the list. What is he talking about? And that is because there's a whole bunch of Jam Along tracks, kind of backing tracks to play along to, that you are missing if you're on Spotify. Everybody else, you know exactly what I'm talking about and you've seen them all. But if you're on Spotify and you're looking for the missing 300 episodes, they're everywhere else. Go to bluegrassjamalong.com, go to Apple or wherever else you get your podcasts from, and you will find them. And there's a whole bunch of fiddle tune tracks to play along with. But I think that is probably it. There's going to be episode 400 coming on Wednesday, and once that's out of the way, we'll chat about what's coming next and some other stuff. But let's move on and talk about some news that is not about the podcast. So this bit of the podcast is Church Street News, which is just some news and announcements, and actually the first bit is about the podcast, or more specifically, it's about me. I'm coming back out to IBMA in September. I was out last year for the first time for the Momentum Awards ceremony, and I'm coming back out again because I had such a good time. I met some cool people. It was really useful to chat to people for the podcast, and it was just a great experience. So I'm going to be back out again. So if you are going to be there, shout. We can hook up, say hello, catch up, have a chat, see a band, have a beer, whatever. But yes, it'd be nice to meet some of you when I'm there. So yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to IBMA. A couple of bits of news for you this week. One, Grasscalls are celebrating 20 years as a band. 2004 they founded. 20 years, and they've got a new record coming out in August to celebrate, which is called 20. I'll have some more news for you about that when it comes, but what an achievement, 20 years as a band. Really cool. So congratulations to them, and looking forward to hearing some new music. Well done to you lot. And this week coming up, this could have gone in the Grass's new bit or in here. It sort of can fit in both. But Billy Strings, Volume 1 of Billy Strings Live is coming out on Friday, July 12th, so the end of this week, as the first volume of what I'm sure will become a long series of live recordings. If you've seen Billy live and you've heard what he does, you know that you're not just getting like a, live version of the records. There's a whole other element to the performance and a whole other element to what that band does live, and it is very cool. I've seen it on more than one occasion. So looking forward to hearing that. Some really sort of high quality live recordings coming out. But that is it for Church Street news this week. Let's move on to The Grass is New. And I think I've only got one thing for you this week. There is a new single from Appalachian Smoke called Don't Wash Away Our Home, which I've added to the Spotify Grass's Mostly New 2024 playlist. Go and have a listen. There's that new track from Appalachian Smoke, Don't Wash Away Our Home. That's the only thing I've spotted this week. There'll be more stuff, I'm sure, coming up, and I will keep an eye out and let you know what there is. But that is it for The Grass is New. Nice and brief this week. Which leads us on to Scroll On Buddy, and a couple of bits I guess I've spotted on my social feeds this week. One is just kind of upcoming stuff for Fretboard Summit, which is happening again August 23rd to 25th at Chicago's Old Town School of Folk Music. Always looks cool, looks really interesting. They're announcing stuff, posting bits as they go. It's going to be soon, it's going to be cool. I will put a link in the show notes, go and check that out. And just the other thing is the IBMA stuff is now coming thick and fast. They're sort of announcing the Ramble artist. There's a load of cool people on. There's obviously the main bands at the Red Hat Amphitheatre, but there's all the sort of street festival stuff too. And I'm not going to list them all, but go and have a look. There's some very cool stuff coming up at IBMA, and I'm really looking forward to being there and seeing some of those people play. But yeah, that's it really for Scroll On Buddy. In my ears this week, I spent a lot of time listening to Drive, actually, because I chatted to Chris Eldridge about that. And then, obviously, after we chatted to it and he brought up all sorts of interesting stuff, I went and listened to it again. And that was really cool. I've also been listening to Rebecca Frazier's upcoming record, because I'm going to have a chat with her in a couple of weeks, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But that is it for this week. All the usual stuff applies in terms of go to bluegrassjamalong.com for a list of all the episodes, all the backing tracks. You can speed them up, you can slow them down, there are chord sheets, there is stuff. All the usual bits and pieces are there. But that is it for this week. I will see you on Wednesday with episode 400. Have a great week and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.